Woo! I hit record and everything worked fine. Welcome everyone back to my college football top 25 series where I'm talking to 25 different representatives from teams. And the cool thing about this is everyone is a different type of representative. Some people are representing their team because they cover the team. Some people are fans of the team. Some people are like, listen, I just have to talk to you about them. And so wide range of people. I'm super excited about that. And so this is me and Ryan's first conversation. I always like to say that up front so that people understand that it's still okay in 2025 to talk to people. So it's totally fine. We don't have to text. We can actually talk. And other than that, the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to you is all of your information will be in the description box. So everybody will be able to find where you are and all of your work and things like that. And the way this is going to be released, which you don't know this yet, so I'm going to say it here, is I will release by my own top 25. So I have my own top 25 list that I've prepared that I will release in order. So August 1st will be top number 25, and then we'll just work our way down up until August 25th. So that is how this will release. So I will be quiet and let you introduce yourself, whatever you want to tell us, whatever you want us to know. And yeah, we'll just start there.
No, and that's cool, and that's awesome about the top 25. My wife would tell you I can't keep up with 5 things, let alone 25. So that's impressive. No, I'm a West Texas guy. Went to Texas Tech. I've covered Texas Tech from a media standpoint all the way going back to 1989. Done play-by-play for various sports at Texas Tech, and then we're in this digital space and world now. I've done radio shows and everything for 30 some odd years. Half of them even years, half of them odd years, and just so happy to be here. And I love doing programs like this because I think this is the cutting edge and what you're doing. I've watched a couple of your shows, and I love the joy you bring to it, the fun you have doing it, and this is what media needs more of. And I'm just happy to hang out tonight. We'll talk football, we'll talk college sports, we'll do whatever we want to do. We'll talk about tacos. I don't care.
I love that. And you're an old guy who covers Texas Tech. So like what could go wrong?
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. I might nod off. I'm staying up past my bedtime. So,
if it gets a little late for you, just let me know. Just let me know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, I love that. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and taking the time to kind of watch some of the things that I do. Like for me, I always laugh. I'm like, I'm putting it out there to the world and then I forget the world watches it. So it's like this weird thing. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate you. So I actually want to start at something that I just thought about as far as recruiting goes. How has it been recruiting as of late with big donors, big money, big movements, how does that feel? Does it feel different for you all? Are you all feeling excited? Like, what is the energy like out there?
The energy is huge, obviously, on a Tech standpoint right now. You look at the number 1 transfer portal class. You just got the number 2 recruit in the state of Texas, and Felix Ojo, an offensive lineman out of Mansfield. They're in the Metroplex for those who don't know the whole area around the state. Yeah. So that's been really interesting. So I feel like for me to answer that question, I have to go back many years and say, I've really had a disdain for covering recruiting on a day-to-day basis. And here's why. Call me when they show up on the campus. Right. Call me when they make the 2 deep. Call me when they're not in trouble and they actually do something. Then I'll pay attention.
That's me.
So over the years, recruiting to me was just a folly. It was just something that people, but obviously if you don't have great recruiting, you don't have good teams, and we understand that. I think what's really changed right now in the last, short few years, it used to be, for a player, am I going to play in front of mom and dad? Am I going to play on TV? Can I get to the NFL? Now it's, how much are you going to pay me?
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be funny. It's just the reality. And Texas Tech right now can say, how much do you want to make? And are they getting players because of that? Absolutely.
I love
100%. And anybody who, doesn't like that or has a problem with that, I get that. Maybe people don't like that in the realm of so-called amateur sports and student athletes. But yeah, this is the reality, and Texas Tech has embraced it wholeheartedly, and they've got some of the best players they've ever had. Theoretically, on paper, we'll see what they do here in a few weeks, here in a month and a half. But yeah, recruiting now, more and more people are paying attention to it at Texas Tech because it's good.
Right. Right.
Didn't like it in the past because when your recruiting class is ranked 79th, you're like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah.
Basketball start.
Yeah, I love that. So, and you mentioned the number one transfer portal class, and it kind of started there, and then I feel like it's still continuing. So, having said that, what does the pressure look like? What does success look like? Like, what are you expecting to see from the head coach this year? Like, what are your expectations for this season? If you like the content you're getting, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Don't forget to turn on those notification bells and do all the YouTube things.
I think the pressure was going to be pretty big anyways for Joey McGuire after a couple of years, and you're making bowl games. You've done pretty good, but not really gone over that 9-win mark or anything like that, which anymore in college football, 9 wins is the old 10 wins is the old 11. I have no idea how many games we play now. I think we play like 15. The pressure's real, and he acknowledged that this week in the Metroplex at Media Day, saying, we've got everything we could ever ask for, and I'm paraphrasing. We've got everything you could ever ask for as a coach. We've got the recruits, we got the money, we got everything. We got to win.
Yeah.
And so we boil that down and say, what is that? And I would say for a lot of Texas Tech fans, you need to be in the conversation in the last week of the regular season to be in the Big 12 championship game. That if you're not there, now if you don't make it, things happen. Injuries happen, things happen.
Right.
But if you're not in the conversation at the end of the year, at the last week, and say, if we win this game or if this happens, you're in, based on what they've done, that's not going to be good. And I'm not saying they're going to run Joey McGuire out of town if they don't make it, but that ain't going to be good because people want to see a return on the investment, and the investment has been made.
Absolutely. By far. Like, period. Full stop. Yeah. So,
Full stop. I mean, like, printed in bold headline.
Seriously. So what is Texas Tech's strength this year? Like, what are you looking at when you look at this team? Because you've been covering Tech for a while. What do you think the strength is of this team?
I've never seen a Texas Tech team that didn't excel without a great offensive line and defensive line. In fact, I hadn't seen many college football teams or pro teams do it without the big uglies up front on the offense. Why do they never call the defensive guys big uglies? It's always the offensive line.
So you know what they used to? I feel like they used to, and then somebody had an issue with it, and then I'm like, oh, here we go. Everyone's so freaking sensitive.
No, it's got to be the lines, and you have you brought in Howard Sampson, who's a full-grown man there at left offensive tackle. Will Jados, left guard. You brought in Hunter Zambrano. He's going to be on the right side of the offensive line. These are guys that the defensive guys are saying these are dudes. These guys are really good. Iron sharpens iron. Then you look on the other side of the line. You got Romello Height, an edge rusher. You've got David Bailey, maybe one of the best defensive ends coming in. And Lee Hunter at nose guard. I love nose guards, by the way.
Me too.
I played quarterback. I got to see a lot of nose guards over the years, up close and personal. I made a lot of friends with nose guards because they were always, oh, hey, how you doing? That's the strength of this team. It has to be. Okay. It has to be the offensive line and the defensive line. If the portal has done what it, portends to have done, is that the right way? Portends? If people think that you've gotten better, it's got to be there up front. And then the secondary to that is going to be a healthy Baron Morton at quarterback. And even more in college football, if you cannot keep your quarterback healthy for 9 or 10 out of your 12 games, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So it starts up front, both sides. Keep Baron Morton healthy, and you go from there. Everybody's. I shouldn't say this. I think most high-level teams right now have running backs, wide receivers. It's not that they're easy to find, but that most teams I think feel pretty good about their skill position. That those guys can make plays. But if your number one quarterback can't get out there,
facts. Yep. Or if your offensive line can't give you any time to do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that. So what do you think the weakness is then? What are you concerned about? Like, when you look at this team and you look at all the acquisition and you look at the coaching staff, like what are you looking at and you're kind of going, man, I feel a little anxious about this thing for this team this year.
I think it kind of boomerangs back to what we're already talking about is the depth real? Are
Mm,
these guys coming in the transfer portal? Can they really adjust to playing? And a lot of them are moving up, kind of a classification, and
fair.
going,
From
we
like,
played at a mid level, we played at whatever. Now we got to go to the highest level. Will they translate? And so you go into, okay, is the depth real?
okay.
Secondary for Texas Tech has been an absolute Crisco inferno the last couple of years. I mean, I could have played. I'm 54 years old. I could have played third string, cornerback for Tech the last 2 years, and they wouldn't have suffered. I wouldn't have been good. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but they wouldn't have been any worse with me. So
I love it. I
I
love
look
that.
at, I look at the overall depth, and then I go, all right, back end secondary. Feel like you look at the roster and you feel like, okay, the quarterback positions have improved. And forgive me, I do this a lot. I'll start off on one thing and I'll go, I got to go over here and do
Hey,
this.
it's football talk, right? I feel like that's like what you
Yeah,
get to do. There's so many things.
the Big 12 has had their perception for the last couple of decades of being a pass heavy conference.
Yeah.
The last couple of years has been a run heavy
Run.
conference.
Yeah.
We're getting back this year to, I think, a really good quarterback conference. I think 9
Okay.
teams have their quarterbacks returning, which means your secondary better be pretty stinking good. So the weaknesses I would say would be depth overall, any position, and then if that secondary is not significantly improved, then people are just going to say, all right, we're going to try to lob it on you
Yeah.
and see if that defensive front, see if Jacob Rodriguez, your linebacker, can get there and make a difference.
You know what I just thought about before I ask you the next question, because I think a lot of people are just now finding out about traditions. Me being a Texas girl, like I know all about the Texas Tech traditions and tortilla throwing. Would you like to share some context about the tradition of the throwing of the tortillas, when it happens? Do you know how long it's been happening? Because I don't know how long it's been happening.
Oh
I
wow,
just know that like Texas used to play. I feel like we always played in what seemed like Halloween on at
yes,
night,
back in the
at
day,
like
yeah,
freaking 9 o'clock or whatever it was. But
yeah.
so for me, like I was aware. Do you want to share like what
Okay,
that is being a Tech fan? Because I've never asked a Tech fan, like, what is that
all right.
tradition like for you?
I was at Texas Tech when it started as a student and a media member. So it
Oh,
starts.
okay.
How long we got? What time is it? You got anywhere to go? All right. So in the late 80s, Spike Dykes is the head coach. And in the stands, they were selling, Cokes, and you get a plastic cup, and it
Okay.
had a lid on it. And the cup, by the way, it had a picture of Spike Dykes on it, and it said, "Tell Spike I'll be there," talking about
Okay.
going to the games. Well, it had a white plastic lid. So the fans started throwing the lids during the games, and they were just going everywhere like frisbees, like little mini frisbees. This is about 1989 or so,
Okay.
right in through there. So Texas Tech, the powers that be, they got mad about cleaning up the lids, and they took away the lids and everything, and said, "All right, no more lids on the cups. You just get a cup and everything else." Trust me, this is going somewhere. So at some point in 89 or 90, across the street from Jones Stadium was a supermarket. At halftime, a group of students went over to the supermarket and raided it for tortillas to throw because they were bored and whatever. And that's where the tortillas started, was because they couldn't throw the cups anymore. So the student section went over there and
Found
probably had a
something
couple of
else.
shots and down a few beers and came back. And at first, it wasn't just but a handful. It wasn't a thing. So 89-90 turns into 90-91. At that point, more and more fans are smuggling in tortillas and bringing them in, and painting double T's on them and everything else. And the really smart ones figured out if you cut a hole in the middle of the tortilla,
Yep.
it will fly better.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's really where it started, was in the late 80s, early 90s. Bob Bockrath, the athletic director, in about 1993-94, tried to eliminate it. The Southwest Conference was upset because they were throwing it on the field, and they
Right.
started giving Texas Tech delay of game penalties after kickoffs. And the hot rumor was that the athletic director at Tech at the time, Bob Bockrath, told the Southwest Conference, "Penalize us. We want to stop this." Well, that got out. It turned ugly. And Bob Bockrath ended up leaving Texas Tech in about 1995 and, was running out of town. But anyways, that's where all that started.
Okay.
It was an organic thing. It was nothing to do with A&M calling Tech Tortilla Tech. It was nothing like that. It was just, whoa, we can't throw the lids anymore. We'll go across the street to the store and get tortillas. And there you
Like
are.
any smart college student would do. I
Exactly.
mean,
Highly educated college students.
highly educated.
Adapt and
Because
overcome.
there's millions of things to do in Lubbock. So of course,
Yeah.
why not just go into the store?
Exactly.
So okay, I love that. I love that. Okay.
Liquor may have been involved. We don't know.
We don't know, and we don't need to know because that is not our business. So, I love that. Okay, so what game are you looking forward to the most on your schedule, and why?
BYU.
Like BYU, just full
BYU.
stop BYU. Okay.
Full stop BYU. And it may not matter with the Retzlaff, situation and everything going on from a pure standing standpoint, but it looks like as we look at the schedule, the Kansas City Chiefs are off that week. Mahomes comes into town. Who's the head coach for the Kansas City Chiefs? What's that guy's name? Andy Reid. Where did he go to school? BYU.
Very cool. Have you by this point at this recording, I've already had my BYU conversation.
Okay.
After the BYU conversation, though, we spent and we said, man, we should have kept recording, because then we started talking about the BYU, just how many coaches played at BYU, went to BYU, and then those coaching trees that then like sprouted out.
Yep.
Have you ever realized how many people went to BYU and played it there, coached there, and that coaching tree from BYU?
Well, and we get into the whole Lavelle Edwards school of coaching.
Yes.
And kind of if not the modern passing game in college football, we can call it modern passing game, West Coast offense, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And so here's the Tech tie-in on that. Mike Leach was, a student, devotee of Lavelle Edwards at BYU. And a lot of what Mike Leach brought to the Hal Mumme coaching tree on the run and shoot and everything else, that all ties back in together what was going on out there in Utah, in Salt Lake City and BYU. But yeah, BYU is one of those fascinating coaching trees with the Lavelle Edwards.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until you go back and look at all the people that were affected by that passing aspect, because nobody was really doing that in the late 70s, early 80s like Lavelle Edwards.
We have, this conversation, we have a little bit of everything. Okay. We have the drunken college students, the maybe college students drinking. We have the total opposite direction in BYU and what they bring to the table.
Honor code.
We're killing it. Like, no episode is better than
I
this.
may or may not be violating the honor code right now.
We have all the things that we have. I love that. Okay. So BYU. So are you thinking maybe like a Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid?
Yeah.
Showing at the game?
Yeah, showing up at the game, some sort of one of those little NFL locker room bets that is always awesome. Somebody's got to wear somebody else's jersey, for the week or what. I mean, I can only think, what would Mahomes make Andy Reid do? Like another State Farm commercial where he's got to eat a cheeseburger? What the hell is he going to do to Andy Reid at this point? You got to eat a salad. That's it. Tech wins. Andy Reid has to eat a salad for a week.
Oh, Andy Reid, man. That's okay. I like that. I love that. Is there any games that feel like a trap game to you, or that could potentially, like, let's assume everything's going great and you're kind of on that path and it's like game 6 or game 7 or whatever. Is there a game where you're going, oh, I don't like we have to play them at that point in the season. I just don't like the way it looks.
It's not a single team or a single game. I think it's late in the season. You mentioned that. And that's where you get into that injury deal, and what is the game you're going to have to win when one or two guys are out, when Coy Aiken is out at wide receiver, when your running back is banged up, when Baron Morton is down and Will Hammond has to come in, you're back up, and he's a good one, but you've got to win that game. And I think anymore, I don't view trap games as, TCU. Well, TCU's not on the schedule this year for Tech. That's a shame. But, you're not going to get up for them. You're not going to play. I think now it's just we're beat up. Mm-hmm. This game is so physical, and you play 12 games. The trap game is the game where you're not healthy.
Right.
And does it come against a team that's good or a team that's not good enough to take advantage of you?
Fair.
And I think that's where it is for most teams right now in college football on the trap game idea.
Yeah, I love that. And then who would you consider Tech's rival? Like who is there a team that Tech plays all the time? Because I guess the question is really just like, is there like let's say it all falls off the rails and you want to just beat your rival,
Yeah.
who would that be for Tech?
And that is the downside. And I am a cranky old guy, and I love tradition in college football and history, and I've watched Tech lose A&M every year and lose playing Texas every year, and you don't get to play regional teams,
Right.
and there is no single team now in the Big 12 that Texas Tech plays that unites the fan base and
Mm,
says we got to beat them. I
right.
mean, kind of TCU. But if you go back to old Southwest Conference Texas Tech fans from the 80s and the 90s when they were in the league together, nobody cared about TCU. You want to beat
Yeah.
Texas. You want to beat A&M. And I think it's a shame right now because I think, a natural regional rivalry is kind of Texas Tech and Oklahoma State because
Hmm.
Oklahoma State, they've lost OU. They've lost their dance partner. Tech's lost
Yeah.
their, Texas and A&M. But both schools kind of just look at each other and go, yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. And that's
How
okay.
close are you to Stillwater?
I can get there in about 6.5 hours.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that I feel like might be lost in college football right now. Some rivalries stay, right? I mean, obviously Texas and Oklahoma go together, and then
right.
Texas joins a conference where Texas A&M is there, so there's that. But then when you start thinking about it, you're kind of like all of the shifting. Some teams have more rivals, I feel like, because like every time I wake up, like someone thinks Texas is their rival. Like
Yeah,
Arkansas thinks we're their rival. LSU is like, I hate Texas. And I'm like,
yeah,
why does everybody hate? Like, what do we do? And
yeah.
so, but then other teams are kind of they're stripped of theirs, and so it's weird how these. I think they're too big. I think these conferences are too big. That's a different conversation for a totally different day.
No, but
But
I think you nail it right there by saying how can Texas Tech and West Virginia really hate each other?
you can't.
No, West Virginia hates Penn State. They hate Pitt. They hate
Yeah,
Phil and they can't hate us. We can't hate
no,
them. And
it doesn't make sense.
sports hate is good.
I
I
think
believe
it
that
makes it sells
that
tickets.
God endorses sports hate.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I was wondering how you're going to answer that one because I was like, I'm not sure what it feels like anymore. Because
No,
I
and
mean, like I said, I know every other year I was like, all right, this is our year. We're going to Tech. You just know.
yeah,
And so yeah, now I have no idea about any of these schools. They just all hate us that we're in the SEC, so they all can't stand us.
yeah.
But so I'm trying to figure it out again because I don't know anything. Okay. What about Kansas State? You guys in Kansas State are just kind of like, whatever, cool, we'll play you guys.
It's been interesting with Kansas State and Texas Tech over the years in the Big 12. They played the first ever Big 12 game in August of 1996. Kansas State won it up there on a disputed call in the end zone, as it should be. Um, I think there are a lot of commonalities
Okay.
between the schools and the people that go to Tech and go to Kansas State. I think there are a lot of commonalities between the people. But again, how do you hate people from Manhattan, Kansas? They're just
Yeah.
so pleasant. They're just so nice. You got nothing against them. They're up there. They're just trying to grow wheat and whatever they can do and survive. And you can't get there. And then freaking Bill Snyder, their head coach for years,
Right. Nobody hates him.
that's like rooting against your granddad. You're like, oh man, we beat granddad. Oh, we beat granddad. He doesn't even dress himself, and we beat it. It just there there is a lot of commonality though within this current Big 12. Again, with a lot of these schools that I think does make it hard to just gin up immediate hatred.
Right.
Iowa
Yeah.
State, same deal. Iowa State, they're just happy they have heat in the
And
winter.
they like they're like respectable. Like, how do you not like Iowa State? They just grind it out and they
Yep.
just like get the most masterful 3 stars and like work hard and like build
Yep.
their team.
I mean,
Yeah.
Iowa State, they're perfect from a sports betting standpoint. Like if you want a team that's going to win 7 or 8 games, you want Iowa State. If you want a team
Fair.
that's going to win 10 or 11 games, you don't bet Iowa State. You go back to Iowa State for 7 or 8 games. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. If there's one player from any college football team that you could add to the Texas Tech football team, by the way, I don't know why I'm getting out of character. I never call you guys Texas Tech ever. It's Tech. The name of the school is Tech. I can't. This
Well,
just
Texas Tech. It's fine.
it is, but it's like it's Tech. Okay, moving forward, it's Tech. Like every time I say it, I'm like, why are you saying that? You've never called them Texas Tech. You always just call them Tech. It's like that's just the name. Anyway, sorry, very Texas of me to say that out loud. But what one player would you say like, please come and join this Tech team? We need you. Thank you very much.
I think they've already bought all of them that you could get over the last few weeks. That I'm not sure, where you would go and say you dramatically improve. So I'm going to flip the script a little bit and say Tech actually did that this off season when they went and got Micah Hudson back from Texas A&M.
Yeah. Okay.
Your previous high 5-star recruit who had a horrible first year at Tech, injuries and whatever else you want to ascribe it to, went to A&M for 45 minutes and went, I'm in College Station? Gets on the phone. Get me the hell out of here. I don't care where I have to go. I can only go back to Tech. I'll go. And Joey McGuire says, we'll bring you back.
Okay.
That Micah Hudson is like this crazy wild card free agent who's never really actually played anywhere but been at 2 schools, sort of like the beginning of my college career, and now is back in a Red Raider uniform with 0 expectations. And he's a 5-star recruit that people are just like, oh, well, if we get something, that's great. And that fascinates me for that young man, and maybe taking the pressure off him and having for 3 years coming out of high school, going through high school and everything, being the all world, going to do this, going to do there. Now he goes to Tech. He gets this Patrick Mahomes special scholarship, NIL deal. You got to be out there on the field first day one, and it doesn't go well. Then he goes away and he comes back, the whole thing about you can't be a prophet in your own land or whatever. He's a prodigal. He's coming back.
Yeah.
That fascinates me. And that's a great question, about who you would add. I think that's the guy they added.
I think him. Yeah.
That he's coming out from somewhere else.
Yeah. I love that. And I love the shot at A&M. Like it's a very Texas thing. Like if you don't live in Texas, like,
yes,
or you've never experienced
what we're talking about.
Yeah, like there's just something about taking shots at A&M. Like, sorry, that's just what it is. You just do it. Everybody does it. It is what it is. It doesn't matter where you live.
No, he gets down there and he's like, hold on, I got to go something to what called the Dixie chicken, and you want me to play dominoes? Huh? And I got to pee in the alley on a bunch of beer cans? This is what, and now we got to sway back and forth? What are we doing here?
The swaying takes me out every time. I'm like it's funny because I respect traditions. I love traditions. But some of them I'm just like,
hey, and I want to say, I love my friends at A&M. I love my Aggie friends.
We all do. We all do.
One of my favorite things always is when they show the coaches and the players, and they're going back and forth, and you look at them, and they're all like, "What the hell are we doing here? We got to do what?"
I love it when they randomly bust it out, like at a press conference, and they're like, "All right," and everyone locks arms.
And all of a sudden they get, A&M is the only place where the cheerleaders shave their heads and not their legs. And they got them milkmen running out there in them white overalls, and all of a sudden they're on the press conference stage and they're going back. And every coaching hire is the same thing, where the new coach is going, My God, what have I got myself into?
Every time,
This is
every
true.
single time.
This
It's
is
amazing.
true.
It is. Oh, and only nobody. Listen, I'll give them credit.
No,
Nobody doesn't like Texas A&M. Nobody doesn't like Texas
but
A&M.
I'll get on your horns a little bit, because it's the same thing at the press conference with the new hires at Texas that are trying to figure out how to do. My tech friends are going, he's doing the horns. So, they're like, what are we? No, we're doing this. No, that's rock and roll. That's Black Sabbath. That's Ozzy Osbourne. No, we're not. We're trying to do. No, hold on. That's Houston.
So funny.
And you see the new coaches at Texas trying to do the horn. The horns up deal. That cracks me up too, because they don't know where to put their wrists.
They don't know what to do.
And we're up here.
I love it. I love it.
All those hand signs started in the late 60s, early 70s in the Southwest Conference, and everybody had to make up one. And most of them are just kind of stupid.
Yeah. I like it. I like my funniest part about the horns is like how much people hate it, and that they hate it by doing it upside down. I'm like, when I don't like something, I don't actually do it at all. So the fact that you're like doing it and flipping it, like
that never happened until about 10 or 15 years ago. I don't ever remember 80s, 90s or anything being a horns down deal, or anything like that. And I don't know how it got started. We're going to blame OU because they probably started it.
I'm like, thank you for using my logo.
Yeah, but it does crack me up though that it's become this thing to do the horns down deal. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I always tell people, I'm like, horns doesn't bother me. And people are like, why doesn't it bother you? I'm like, because that's not real. Like, people didn't always do it. It's like a newer thing. So for me, I'm just like, whatever. Anyways, is there anything else about this Texas Tech football team that you want us to know for this 2025 season? What should we be looking for? What are you thinking as you as we march to the season? You just came back from media days. How are you feeling?
Okay. And that really is the ultimate question now going forward for all the money spent, all the NIL, all the transfers. The rubber hits the road here in a few weeks when you start camp, and you have just an incredibly soft non-conference schedule. You're playing like Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's not even a good basketball game, let alone football. You're playing Kent. That's a guy. Wait, no, that's Kent State. So the first 3 or 4 games will prove nothing. This season doesn't start until you hit, Houston, and you hit October.
Okay.
And how do you handle the pressure that everybody's going to be looking at? Because the minute they play a close game in non-conference, everybody is going to say, see, money doesn't buy championships. See, money doesn't guarantee anything.
Yep.
And, Joey McGuire, great high school coach, can't get it done. And that's going to happen probably. You're going to have moments where this team is going to struggle, lose, whatever. How do they handle that? Because, the old adage, act like you've been there before. They haven't.
You haven't. Yeah.
They haven't been to the Big 12 title game. They haven't won a conference title. They haven't won 10 games. But this, as I saw in a column or an article on The Athletic today, one anonymous coach calling it the best team money can buy. Okay.
Yeah.
We look at baseball and we go, Dodgers, Yankees.
They win.
Yeah. You spend the money, you better win.
Yeah.
And that's where Texas Tech is now. And that's
I like it.
Never been the case at Texas Tech. You have never, ever in 100 years of football now, 25, 100 years of football, nobody's ever looked at Texas Tech and said, you've got everything you need. Money, talent, support, fan base. Never had it. How are you going to handle it? Call me back in November.
I love
or
it.
You can call me before then, but
I was gonna say, well, I might. Like, I just might. You never know. Like, you just never know. Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard when I'm recording one of these. So I appreciate you. And just like, I feel like so many people like don't realize this is supposed to be fun. Like, this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to laugh. This is what it's all about. And we literally
this whole thing
wait.
is supposed to be enjoyable.
Yes, and we wait how long for this?
I got into
Like,
this business so I didn't have to get a job. I could be digging cows out of the mud or, running
oh,
a tractor right now.
Is that a Lubbock joke?
Yeah, well, no, it's like a real life joke, where I live. But,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
love
got
it.
into this because it's fun. We love it,
Yeah.
and what we do in the media, we love interacting, with other media members and having fun. And it does get me kind of PO'd when fans cross that line and don't realize, hey, this is the kiddie department of life. We got
Hmm.
real crap going on. Enjoy this, be passionate about it, have fun, but don't let it suck the life out of you that you're down and you're upset and you don't even know, what your kid's doing in school because you're so mad at, Dak Prescott throwing 3 interceptions.
Right. Because he will throw 3 interceptions.
He will throw 3 interceptions and he'll get hurt and the Cowboys will win, 9 games. There you go.
I love that. Well, I would like to end this. I end on my guest, so I would love for you to say anything else you want to share, and then I'll end it on you. However, I want to give you the chance. If you have any questions to ask me, you absolutely don't have to ask me any questions, but I want to just throw it back to you just in case you did have something that you wanted to know. And yeah, we'll just end that way. It's totally on you. No
I have
pressure.
zero questions for you whatsoever, other than thank you. And I'm so glad that Mike Harge reached out to me and
Yes. Shout out to Harge.
man, he's a great dude, and he spent
Great human.
a lot of nights here in Lubbock, Texas, and everything else. He's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what I would want to say tonight is I want to reiterate what so many people are saying right now across the state of Texas. Please pray for our friends in the Hill Country and do whatever you can, small, large, it doesn't matter. Don't look for scapegoats. Don't look
Mm.
for anything right now other than just, help these people. We'll figure out the other stuff later, but just help these people and do what you can. And there's so many resources and places to go. And that's really all
Yeah.
that's been heavy on my heart, heavy on my mind the last week or so. And that's what I want to say tonight for the folks that are watching this, whether it's in the state of Texas or otherwise.
Yeah, I love it. And reaching out is enough too. Like if that's all you can do is just
Yes.
check on people and say,
You
"Are
got
you
you know
okay?"
somebody, call
That's
them, give them a text, say, hey, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking about you. It ain't always about money. It's about the heart.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I will find a reason to need to talk again, even
Oh,
if
you
I
have no
don't
idea.
know.
I'm gonna get you on my show pretty soon, so don't worry.
Perfect. Well, you let me know when you have my number. You reach out to me and I am there. So we will make it happen. And I really honestly truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. And we'll chat soon.
Have a great night.
You
Thanks.
as well.